What is going on, guys? So, just about a few weeks ago, or about 3 weeks ago, they announced that California's Great America will be closing its doors in 2033. Many people are sad to hear this, but it is going to close after 11 years. Now, why did Cedar Fair chose to close this down? Well, it seems like my personal guess is there's not a lot of people going to this park because of how small it is. And it's just that, people get tired of seeing the same things. So, CJ is very sad to hear that it will be closing. So, don't expect that there's going to be some new additions, guys, in the next coming years. Because, they're going to have a chance for people to come. And if they're really closing its doors, then people living in Bay Area will not have any more fun. So where else are they gonna go? Seems like they're gonna go to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, but that's gonna be about further away. The fair chose to close this down because you know they probably wanted some more space for buildings and office buildings and you know more things in the city like hotels. So why is this going to be something that will happen? Well, honestly, this is not what people are expecting this to be, but it seems like, you know, most coastal enthusiasts are kind of sad that this park is going. But I honestly think that, maybe there's going to be something better that will come. But honestly, I'm not sure if they're planning to relocate the park. They didn't say anything about that. But I will get to specifically what parks could relocate their coasters and why I see that happening. So, anyway, yeah. I just want to show you this article about California's Great America and why they're closing its doors in 11 years. It's because not only they want to save some retail and put some buildings where it currently sits, but Cedar Fair just probably wants to save up some money, and so they said approximately 310 million, which is its large investment. So that means they're wanting to save some money, so that they can add some rides to their other parks. So I know some of you guys are kind of disappointed, but that's just how life is. So the possible rides, I can see them relocate because their rides at CGA, aka California's Great America, are good. So where can I possibly see this go? Uh, Before I even talk about this, just take a look at this. Today, Cedar Fair announced it's been sold and announced California's Great America Amusement Park plans to close the park. Cedar Fair elected to sell the land to Por- Prologis, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Incorporation, a Bay Area based logistics real estate company, for approximately $310 million with a lease agreement. The company will continue to operate the park for a period up to 11 years and then will close existing park operations at the end of the lease term. Looking at the 8/K feeling of deal, a bit more Cedar Fairs, six most likely. So they're talking about they have a lease contract that they have, and it will be end in 2033. So you'll get your last chance to visit the park probably in 2032. So get your chance by 2032 in order for you to have fun at this park before it closes for good. So anyway, I now want to talk about the predictions on where the rides could possibly go. Okay, so first coaster prediction will be Patriot, California Grand. This coaster is actually was a B&M stand-up coaster, and this coaster actually is a decent layout. It's not really that bad. The only problem is it's just fairly short, but a possible Cedar Fair park could possibly relocate this ride. I mean, buy this ride and have it relocated from CGA. I mean, the inversions are okay, but there are some parks that needs another B&M, and there's a certain park that really needs a B&M. I mean, most parks do have B&Ms. I mean, some parks are lacking a B&M, but this coaster is absolutely fun, so I can see a potential location for this ride. So it's a fun old ride. It used to be a B&M stand-up coaster as Vortex, and in 2017 it got repainted and renamed and converted into floorless. The actual color of the ride, a possible relocation for Patriot from CGA. Now, of course, Worlds of Fun needs another B&M badly. Their only B&M coaster is actually next door, Patriot. Their B&M invert. Now, of course, Patriot has the same name, so of course they're gonna have to choose a different name. But where I predicted it should go, I think could be doable. I think this area could expand, and they could possibly put the ride there. Worlds of Fun needs another B&M coaster, and of course, a B&M floorless is something that Worlds of Fun does not have, and people who are from Spinning Dragons, can go to the B&M floorless coaster right next door, and if they want to ride Patriot, their B&M invert, then it's just right there. Now, honestly, I don't even know if it's possible to put a coaster here. This is just my prediction, but just let me know if it's not possible to put a coaster here. I'm sorry for my mistake. Uh, I would probably tell you where they should put it in the comments, but I think the location looks pretty good according to my prediction to put where Patriot was at CGA and relocated here at Worlds of Fun. I just think that Worlds of Fun just needs another B&M uh, coaster, and I think it will be really good here. A solid floorless coaster is good here. So, yeah. Is Flight Deck, their B&M invert from the California's Great America, and many people already know where this should be relocated at. People are saying that Valley Fair should have a B&M invert, and I think that this coaster is fun to ride, and it really pops with the trees. I think they should call it something else, but they can keep the color scheme the way it is. This coaster is a lot of fun. I didn't get to ride it 2 times though, because we didn't have that much time. But this is a solid B&M inverted coaster, and I'm sure that uh, it will do good at Valley Fair. And I do like the layout, although it's short. It still packs a punch. I've ridden this once at California's Great America, and I had a tons of fun, especially when you're skimming, across the water. Uh, After that corkscrew, after that third inversion, you really feel like you're skimming across the water, and then you turn around a bit and you hit the brakes. Pretty short, but it's a really decent ride. So I would think Valley Fair would pretty much do a good job with this invert. Is my prediction for Flight Deck from CGA and possibly relocated to Valley Fair. Now, unfortunately, Valley Fair is landlocked, so the best way that they can do is something similar to Acrobat at Nagashima Spa Land and Emperor at SeaWorld San Diego. They have to strip some of the parking space off to fit this ride. Now, this is just my prediction on how the layout could possibly work, but since they're using up all these parking space and possibly putting the coaster there, and there's going to be a path where people can walk to, just like what they did to Acrobat at Nagashima Spa Land. It's going to be a parking lot coaster, and the ride will be here, so the station will be here. So there's going to be like a whole path here where they have to go to the queue. So it's kind of like a parking lot coaster like Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, Scream at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Acrobat at Nagashima. So basically, that's the best way that Valley Fair can do this, is making it a parking lot coaster. Now, a lot of people don't like parking lot coasters, but sometimes there is no choice because the available land they have is not doable. So, of course, the back of the park where High Roller is, that is actually office buildings and cannot be removed. However, this is probably going to be a nice addition still. And of course, Valley Fair is rumored to get a B&M invert. So also, since they're taking up that whole parking space, they could, or if they want to put grass around here instead of, parking space, they could do that. But since they're taking up all that parking space, they gotta put a new parking space this way. They have to expand. And of course, there's a road down here, and all they gotta do is just turn around here, cut this parking space in half, and then just turn around here. And so they just have to be very creative with the parking space, though. So they can just expand this way, or possibly add a parking garage this way, towards the back, right here where my cursor is. So that's all my prediction for flight deck. And I know many of you guys don't like the location, but I looked around for the park and there's no room for the invert. So my only best guess is they just have to make it a parking lot coaster. So yeah, that's about it. This is California's Great America's newest coaster. It opened in, I think, July 16th, or no, that was June. That was June 16th. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2018, when this coaster first opened its gates. But this is actually an RMC single rail coaster. People say that this is a fun ride and shouldn't be scrapped. And I totally agree. This was actually a fun ride. This was my first RMC Raptor coaster. Uh, this was a fun ride. This is probably one of my favorite coasters at California's Great America. And I think my second favorite was Gold Striker. But this ride is absolute fun. It really whips you over those turns, and those inversions are so wacky. I really love this ride. So I don't want to see this ride get scrapped. I would rather see this relocated at the park somewhere. So fun ride, but very short. Adventure. Uh, they might not even be getting anything at all. So probably Michigan's Adventure wouldn't want to buy Railblazer at CGA and relocate it there. But this is obviously just my prediction, so don't take anything seriously. But there's a chance that Michigan's Adventure may not get anything. So, and before I even move on, I'm only doing the coasters. I am not doing the flat rides. I'm only gonna predict about the roller coasters of CGA. So anyway, uh, where I could possibly think that Railblazer could possibly be relocated is to Michigan's Adventure. And if you're wondering where, of course, it's going to be next to the Wolverine Wildcat Wooden Coaster. Now, if you're wondering uh, what this is actually a backstage area, and there's a little train ride, but they just have to be very creative. So I came up with a way on how they can fit this attraction in. Now, obviously, they are not going to be closing the Rapids ride, so I didn't predict it will be replacing it. However, you know, I just feel like they're gonna keep that ride, the Rapids ride, and it will not be removed. However, another way that they can do this, because they can't put it over the water because there's a swan or bumper boats over there. So what I think that they should do is put it next to the Wolverine Wildcat wooden coaster, and they can open up a new space that way. And so people, guests can walk there and go to the ride. However, if you're wondering what happened to the service road, obviously they're gonna have to reroute the service road, and I drew in possibly in brown is a new route for the service road. So it's right here next to the Railblazer. Now, obviously, you're gonna have to choose a different name unless they want to keep that same name. They could, but it wouldn't be surprising. But anyway, the colors are good. I think it really blends in. I think they should keep the red and not repaint it. But honestly, I think Michigan's Adventure would do good with that RMC single rail. Especially they don't have a new coaster in a while. I think Michigan's Adventure really needs a coaster, but they've not been getting anything many years. So I think it's just time that they should really get a new coaster. Come on, Michigan's Adventure. At Great America. This is actually a fun GCI coaster. I think this is one of my favorite GCI wooden coasters that I've ridden. I mean, I've ridden Apocalypse at Six Flags Magic Mountain, but I think this is just way more funner because of the drop and the speed it gets. This is a really fun and awesome GCI wooden coaster, so I wouldn't see this get scrapped. In fact, I think this would do a good job at King's Dominion. King's Dominion does not have a GCI wooden coaster, but they do have a couple of wooden coasters. I just think that King's Dominion would work good with this GCI. I think they just need a GCI wooden coaster so bad. I was also kind of thinking about Cedar Point because they need another wooden coaster, but maybe it will be most likely a custom one and not a relocation from CGA. This coaster is way too big for a plot of land where Wicked Twister once stood, so I don't see that happen. But this is just a fun and fast wooden coaster, and I think it will do good at King's Dominion. It does not have a GCI wooden coaster, and their only main wooden coaster is the Grizzly because they've just RMC'd their hurler into Twisted Timber, so they lacked a wooden coaster. So I think Gold Striker will look good at King's Dominion, and I predicted it's gonna go where Volcano with the Blast Coaster once stood, and I think it would be a good job here. This is a fun ride, and I think a lot of people at King's Dominion will love this ride because it is a good wooden coaster. So now they will have two wooden coasters again. So if CJ decides to relocate Gold Striker to King's Dominion, I think it will do good here. So uh, another wooden coaster, would be fun and it would do good at King's Dominion. So it was also a rumor that they were going to be having a B&M wing coaster where, you know, Volcano Blast coaster once stood, but those are just rumors and plans could change. So just to take a little note. So honestly, I think this spot is actually good for a GCA wooden coaster. So yeah, I think this would look good here. In for the relocation of the coasters, there are the other four, but I don't really think a park would want to buy those rides. But I'll talk about that later. But let's get to the prediction of the relocated ride from CGA, which is the Grizzly, their boring wooden coaster. But I drew an orange because I could possibly see orange iBox track on the RMC Grizzly from CGA. They can just relocate the wooden coaster there, and then strip the track, and then call in RMC and you know retrack it. Now, I don't see them leaving it as a wooden coaster because Kings Island has enough wooden coasters. They said they have the most length on a wooden coaster track in one park. So I don't see them getting a wooden coaster. But what I like to see here is them RMCing the Grizzly and relocating it at Kings Island. Because Kings Island does not have an RMC hybrid. Although many of you guys are wondering that, what about Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point? Well, honestly, if they're willing to pay for it, they could still add an RMC because Steel Vengeance is the RMC hypercoaster. This is only gonna be a little shorter than Steel Vengeance, and it's not gonna be as big as Steel Vengeance, so they could still get an RMC hybrid, Kings Island. So honestly, I think it would be an awesome coaster at Kings Island. If you're wondering where I'm predicting it should go at Kings Island, I have a prediction that it will go where Vortex once stood. But even though many of you guys are thinking of a B&M dive coaster, I don't see that because they have Valraven and they don't want to, you know, copy Valraven at Cedar Point, and it's in the same state. Although they have Steel Vengeance, an RMC hybrid, and now they're getting an RMC Grizzly. Well, honestly, like I said before, it won't be as big as Steel Vengeance, so they could still RMC the Grizzly and move it to Kings Island. Now, honestly, I know many of you guys at Kings Island are wanting an RMC hybrid, and I totally agree. They should get an RMC hybrid. So I drew an orange, a possible, uh, you know, spot where they could relocate the Grizzly, from CGA and put it to Kings Island. Now, honestly, I like to see an RMC at Kings Island, although I haven't been there yet, but I would love to see them get an RMC still. So, uh, RMCs are fun rides, actually. So, anyway, that's going to include the RMC. And I want to talk about Demon, Woodstock Express, and Psycho Mouse. Well, honestly, I can see Demon go overseas at China or Japan, but I could also see that ride get scrapped And also for the Wild Mouse, Psycho Mouse, I can see that gets scrapped as well. And Woodstock Express may be a park in Japan, but most likely will be scrapped. So those are basically all my predictions on the coastal relocations when CGA closes down in 2023. Now it is kind of sad to hear, but honestly, what do you guys like to see happen? I mean, what rides would you like to see relocate, and what parks do you want them to be relocated at? Post your comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.